Hey everybody, let's look at how Photoshop can adjust values and fix image problems in your pictures. So let's take a look at kind of an old faded picture and see what we can do to kind of fix it and bring it back to life. So a lot of times when you're doing retouching, fixing old photos, you have to deal with an incomplete value in the image. Basically that means that it's faded, you have grayscale, but you don't have really rich darks and you don't have really bright whites. Everything's become kind of muted. And you can bring a lot of that back in your image using some of these tools we'll talk about. There's a levels adjustment, there's a brightness and contrast, and there's even some old Photoshop tools, old photo darkroom tools we can use to play around with this. So let's see what we can do with this picture particularly. So the first thing I'll start with is some of the old photo darkroom tools. Now, if you look on the sidebar, on the toolbar, you'll see dodge, burn, and sponge. Now these actually are tools that have been derived from the darkroom when you would actually use those tools on your photographs to develop your pictures. And you could manually, by hand, use these tools to adjust your film as it was developed and develop the image as it was developed in the darkroom. And so dodge, let's take that tool and maybe paint on part of the this man's shoulder here. You'll see that dodge is actually lightening it. Okay, and so that's actually not something we want to do on that area of the picture. But let's say we did want to lighten some of the background. We could actually use that that dodge to do that. Burn, on the other hand, brings it back. Burn is going to be the opposite. It's going to make things a little bit darker. Kind of bring back the darkness in his jacket. Bring back some of those little areas that maybe are a little too faded. So you could spend a lot of time going through here and painstakingly kind of paint in what's missing in the photo. Next one is sponge. Sponge is going to kind of gray down the tone. It's going to diminish the light and dark or the contrast in the picture. You can see how I'm just kind of painting over it and it's kind of dulling some of those areas. So the reason I show these is a lot of times people overlook these tools. They're really useful, and if all you need to do is make a little adjustment, maybe brighten or darken an area really quickly in a photo, why not use the dodge, sponge, or burn tool on the toolbar. Now, I'm not going to stick with those edits because it really would take too long to try to do that by hand throughout the entire picture. So I'm going to show you how you can do it with some of the other image adjustments. I'm going to go ahead and click on my history panel. If you don't see it, go to the window menu and pull up history. And something really nice about the history panel is it keeps track of your subsequent steps. So you can go back in time. So I can actually go here into history all the way back to when I opened the file, and it'll restore it to where I was. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. Next thing before I do my next series of edits is I want to make a copy of this layer so that I don't permanently alter or damage the original. So I'm going to go over here to my layer palette, and I'm going to select duplicate layer so that that layer comes up to the top. And from now on, I'll be working and fixing the copy layer, not the original. This is an important habit to get into when you're working on photos like this, is you don't want to permanently damage or alter the original. So it's always a good idea to work on a copy. All right. So here what we're going to do is select image, and I'm going to go to adjustments. And the first one I'm going to try out is levels. Okay, so I'm going to click on levels, and this is going to show me kind of a visual representation of the value distributed throughout the picture. Now, it can be a little bit abstract to look at this and wonder, okay, what does it mean when you have a slider off to the right, a slider off to the left, and then this white, graph in the middle? Basically, what it's trying to show you is that there is a lot of concentration over here in the gray to white area of the picture, but very little on the dark side of the picture, which is true. As you're looking at the picture, you can see there aren't any deep dark values in the photo. Everything's confined over here to the right side, which is kind of lighter and grayer tones. So to fix that, you can actually just grab this little triangle and slide it over to the edge of the start of the little scale here. And basically what that does is it moves all the values darker, and it redistributes the remaining pixels between light and dark. And so one of the first things you can do with levels is, if you ever have a faded picture, is go ahead and just redistribute the grayscale from dark to light onto the edge of the visible part of the picture. Within that range, you could also move the grayscale independently back and forth, where you can make it a little bit darker or a little bit lighter. And it all depends on the picture you're working with. So not every picture is going to require the same color or grayscale value. But that's a pretty even distribution. It brought back a lot of the darks, and it kind of left in place some of the lights. So I'm going to click OK. Now, another thing we could look at here is under the image menu, we could go back to adjustments. This time we could go to brightness and contrast. Now, brightness and contrast does what it sounds like. It's going to make the picture look brighter, or it's going to increase the contrast or decrease the contrast. It's really easy to blow out the value in your picture if you use it too much. So I always say, use brightness and contrast sparingly, because if you go too far, you totally overexpose your picture. But if you go too little, or you go in the opposite direction, you can make it really muted and gray. So let me just show you the extremes. If I go all the way to the right on brightness, it burns it out. Or if I go too far to the left on the brightness, it dims it down. So sometimes, depending on what you need, you might darken it just a little bit and then increase the contrast a little bit. In this case, what that does is it kind of helps the picture lose some of the gray tone and increase the brightness or the whiteness. But then it can also enrich the darks by reducing the brightness a little bit. So again, I think it's best to kind of use it sparingly, not go really dramatic on it. But I'll click OK. So now we can already see, if I turn off the copy layer, you can see this is where we started, and already this is where we're at. So we've improved it quite a bit. Notice how in this old-timey photo, though, certain areas of the picture have gone kind of faded. And some of that could just be the quality of the lens at the time the picture was taken. Maybe somebody moved. Maybe the lighting wasn't quite right. But you can see how the darkness and the lightness isn't quite consistent. And that's where I might come back in with maybe the dodge or burn tool to kind of improve that. I might paint a little bit on the dress and darken it up a little more, put it back to what it should be. Maybe his foot there too. So some targeted areas, you might go back to using some of those photo tools to kind of fix and redistribute those values. All right, so those are some of those things you can do with those targeted tools to kind of fix things. Let me zoom in on the eyes here, and you can see what I might do. This is where using that burn tool might come in handy. Let's say I want to bring back some of the darkness in the eyes. Sometimes the best way to get some of the detail back in an old-timey photo is to focus on important features. So people tend to focus on eyes. So if your eyes are the right value, you'll kind of ignore some of the other washed out areas of a picture. So you could really spend some time going in and trying to fix this picture. While we're at it, there are some other issues here. We've got some dust and scratches and some other issues with the picture. And what we can do real quick is I'm going to show you the healing brush. So there is a spot healing brush which you can use to fix some of those tiny areas. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, and you can see how, you know, he's got a little dot on his forehead. There's a couple little specks just around the background. I'm not going to try to do the entire picture, but let's say I want to fix one of these little spots. Well, keep in mind that you can change the size of the spot healing brush using the bracket keys on your keyboard. So that's going to be the right or the left bracket on your keyboard, and those are right underneath the plus and minus symbol on your keyboard. So the left bracket is going to make it a little bit smaller. The right bracket is going to make it a little bit bigger. So let's say I use it, and all you're going to do is just tap. You don't want to brush, you just want to tap. And basically what that does, boom, just kind of deletes it, hides it, and fixes it. So if you're very careful and you just tap, it doesn't smear the picture. Sometimes if you smear too much, it can kind of smear and it'll make a really visible mark on the photo. But when you come in and you just kind of tap, the brush does a really good job of just kind of absorbing whatever background color and texture is there, and then it hides the little blemish. So you could go around and do that to some of the most obvious areas in the picture, just clicking and kind of fixing some of those little spots. Again, if you do it too much, it's going to be really obvious. So let's say I had the brush really big and I just smeared. It's going to make a really visible mark in the photo. So these little tricks are meant to be very targeted and fix very specific areas in the photo. All right, so hopefully that gives you a couple little tools you can use to fix the value and the color, not the color scale, but the value scale of the image. Oh, one last thing. If I go back to the image menu and I look at the image mode, you'll see that this sample image here is already grayscale, okay? Sometimes to complete other types of edits on your photo, you're actually going to want to convert your image to RGB, even if the image is grayscale. What that does is gives you further control over some filters and effects and some of the correction tools that you can apply to your image, even though it's grayscale. And so sometimes it may be necessary to do that. In fact, if I do that, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Just switch to RGB. Don't flatten because I want to keep those layers. While I've got it here, I'm going to go to Image, and I'm going to go to Image Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation. Now watch what happens if I select Colorize. If I select Colorize, it throws on just a color here. I think it picked up this pink that was in my fill box. But let's say I take it over, I tone it down to maybe more of a sepia tone, and then I lower saturation a little bit. So actually, I'm just giving it a little hint of a color as opposed to just being flat black and white. Sometimes it's good to add just a little hint of a color to an old-time photo, and it brings it back to life a little bit. So look where we started from, and look where we wound up. So quite a bit better. So with that, maybe you can be your grandma's hero and fix some of the old-time photos, family photos. But check back for more in future videos. All right, thanks. See you later.